I went to my first flea market of the year and I picked up over 100 comic books. What did I get and what's their significance? Let's take a look on this video from Bronzeville Comics. Hello, panelologists. This is Jim from Bronzeville Comics coming to you with another video. And before we get started, please like, comment, subscribe. Check out the description of this video for links to my Instagram, whatnot, eBay store, and email. Feel free to reach out to me. I appreciate comments. So I went to the Meadowlands Flea Market. It was a Saturday morning. It was in the 40s. It did get up to high of 62. There was no wind. It was sunny. So it's actually a fairly pleasant day, and this is like really my first outdoor activity of 2025 and my first flea market. So let's take a look at some footage from the flea market. Here we are. There's a few folks set up. Is that white box in the distance? Is that a comic book box? Right there. Let's see. We'll take a walk around. It's like 7 o'clock in the morning. So folks are just getting set up. So maybe we can jump on something. So let's see what we got. It's not a comic book box. I don't know about these. Have I seen these already? I'll take a look. I got Turok 1 and Robin 3, number 1. I'm cooking with gas. Okay, let's take some time going through these. So there was the first, actually the first vendor I went to, there was like one guy with one box and one guy was kind of hogging it up. He was taking his time, whatever. I said, let me circle back. And I came to somebody, there were already 2 people there. He had probably maybe about 10 long boxes, give or take. Started flipping through, and it was mostly independent stuff from the 80s and 90s. I think one guy took a whole bunch of number 1s. There's still plenty of good stuff in there. There were some boxes that I got to first. One of the things I did find in the back of one of the boxes, it was were some Savage Sword of Conan magazines. Now, these aren't generally great value items, but these are issues 219, 221, 222, and 223. Later on in the run, those are a little bit harder to find for those collectors, so I grabbed those. Now, I do talk about my 4 S's, especially going to the flea market or something, and it's save, slab, sell, spec. I'm going to add a 5th S, and that's series, and I'll talk about that when I get to it. So I'm going to talk about the books. If I don't say anything, basically, they're going for resale, generally on Whatnot. So somebody probably had taken the number 1. They had a run of Sandman, the 1973 to 76 series by Jack Kirby. So it didn't have number 1, but it had 2, 3, 4, 2 4s, a 5, and I don't have in my personal collection a 6. And this is a pretty nice copy. It does have a little bit of a stain on the S there, but It's probably in the 8 range. That was a nice copy. So that is going into my save pile. Not a lot of them going into the save pile, but these will go. I'm actually sorting these as I go. So that's in B and C. Okay. What else did I pick up? Oh, these are good. I did pick up just this cover caught me. It's not really worth a ton of money. Savage Dragon number 83 with Madman. Yes. And then there were a ton of Spawn. Everybody was grabbing Spawn. Number 8 with the McFarlane homaging himself after me. And then I got a whole bunch in the same. Now, the books were kind of in semi-order, but not really. They weren't like by series or anything like that. Kind of series were close to each other. But everything was bagged. Nothing was really boarded. So I got Spawn 68. 69, 72, 73, 'What else do we have here? 74, 75, 76, 77. This is a fairly pricey book. It does have some spine ticks, so I didn't think it was a 9.8 candidate. It's like, I think, like $150 plus in a 9.8. It's the first cover appearance of the Wings of Redemption. 78, 79, 80, 81. Now, these weren't all in straight order. It was just like Spawn, Spawn, Spawn. 82, and then we jump ahead a little bit to 98, 104, and 114. Now, the books were all $2 a piece that this guy had, right? And, you know, other guys were grabbing big piles, and some folks that I know, like Ian and Carl, they were there, and they had, you know, picked out 60 books, 50 books, whatever it was. And I was just kind of saying, I think this is good because I'm not totally well versed in 80s and 90s indie stuff, but I do know if covers look like this, somebody's going to buy it. This is Demon Slayer Vengeance number 1 Fire. This Batman Holy Terror trade paperback. This one's a more expensive trade paperback. It's Batman Full Circle. Omega Man 5. This is the second appearance of Lobo, which has become a thing lately. Ugh. Let me grab another pile. I did a lot of rebagging and boarding this evening. Sandman number 25. This is the first appearance of the Dead Boy Detectives. I didn't see, you know, the 8 or the 1 or the whatever. They might have been there. Another, a Lady Death number 2. Lady Death Alive. People like covers like this. And then I talk about series. This is an incomplete series. So this is, I have Kingdom Come issues 1, 3, and 4. So I need issue 2. So I kind of put this, I have a box over yonder that's incomplete series. Now, Silver Surfer 34, The Return of Thanos. This is a really nice shape. This is going in my slab pile, so I'm going to clean and press that. As will this book, Gen 13 number 1. This is the mini series. This is the first cover artwork by J. Scott Campbell. So that is a popular cover. A full series that I got is Lobo's Back, issues 1 through 4. Because not everything was together, as I said. And then another incomplete one. This is Lobo Infanticide 1, 2, and 3. There was an issue 4, so I don't have issue 4. So that's the kind of thing, if I see it in a dollar bin, I remember it. Now, this book, I was surprised. I didn't know that much about it. but it's in pretty nice shape. It doesn't need a clean and a press, but I think I'm going to throw it in a 9.8 pre-screen. This is from Dark Horse, Star Wars Jedi vs. Sith #1. This is the first appearance of Darth Bane. It's supposedly non-canonical. Does Darth Bane break like Luke Skywalker's back or something? I'm not sure how that works. Anyway, that's going to go in the clean and press pile, the slab, so to speak. Then there were 2 copies of The Crow, Flesh and Blood #1, and 1 copy of #2. It's a 3-issue series. Then there's Preacher #13, which is the first appearance of Her Star and Jesus Desad. Then there were quite a few issues of another pile of Faust, which is a very adult book. Not really what I collect. 5 and 6. And I know my buddy Ian was grabbing some issues. It is not for children. Then it switched publishers. This is 8 and 9, right? 9 and 12. And then there's Faust Singa's Talons #4. People collect that. Spawn Batman by Miller and McFarlane. Another sexy lady cover. This is, I was kind of done, and I had gone through pretty much all the things, and I was like at 70 books. Said, let me get to 75 to make it a round number. I ended up with 78. Vandala 2 #1. And Brian Pulido's Unholy. This is listed as a preview wrap. I can't really find anything on this. Then this is a hot property. This is Ice Age on the World of Magic the Gathering #4. Again, I don't know that much about Magic the Gathering. I don't know if the folks that play that need, like, they need wands and stuff. I don't know. I always tease my buddy Joe about that. Then Sandman, first appearance, 21. This is the first appearance of Delirium. And 22 is the first appearance of Mazikin and the first appearance of Daniel Hall. No, Carl had gotten the Miracle Man, the Death of Kid Miracle Man, which is a big book. He had found that. I found some of the later Neil Gaiman ones. Neil Gaiman, I mean, issues 19 and 20 of Miracle Man. These are in pretty nice shape. Which was kind of weird because the vast majority of the collection was independent. There wasn't a lot of superhero. There was some Conan in there. There's a little bit of Batman, and there was a Spider-Man #1 because you have to. This is a pretty high grade, but the silver isn't really worth getting graded. It's like an $80 book in a 9.8, unless I checked. It's Green Lizard, not gold or blue. Batman vs. Predator 3, #3. Spawn Dark Ages #1. Lady Death vs. Vampirella. Dark Horse Presents 140 with aliens. It also has a Usagi Yojimbo story in it. I do have the entire run of Dark Horse Presents, and I was looking for, there's the later one where the Predator fights the Nazis. That's a pricey book. I was like, that, because based on the fact that was there, I forget what issue it is. I think it's in the 140s. I was like, that one could be there. Because I also was figuring, there was like Mage, and there were other books that I probably could have grabbed, but I wasn't really looking anything up, not too much, on Key Collector or anything. I was just kind of grabbing indiscriminately. So when you do that, and it's $2 a book, you're not really taking that much of a gamble. At worst you're out $2, but I didn't get anything huge. None of this here is like, more than, at its best, maybe a $40 book. It's actually $137 is like $100+ book, and in a 9.8 it's ridiculous. Basically, it's Predator versus Nazis. From Dark Horse, Magic the Gathering Legacy #2. Just a random one. Now, this one was interesting. And I found 4 of the 5 issues of the series, but they're all really sharp. 300 by Frank Miller. This, of course, was adapted into a feature film starring Gerard Butler. So this, #1, is really sharp. That's going into the slab pile. I haven't told you about anything else. Everything else is going into, other than that one Sandman book, everything else is going into the sell pile. So the other issues, and it's, I don't even know because it's on the back. I think it's issues 2, 4, and 5, or 2, 3, and 5 of 300. I'll figure it out. Then this, not quite a 9.8. There are a couple spine ticks, but The Witcher #1, that's a pretty cool book. And then from the first series of Batman vs. Predator, issue #3, the deluxe one. So those were the Savage Dragon #50, 100-pager. That's not really worth a lot. I just grabbed it because that's an anniversary issue, and so on and so forth. So anyway, those were the 78 books I picked up from that one vendor. That was most of the haul, but not all of the haul. And not in terms of value either. So there were, most of the other vendors were like, except for the last one, everybody else was like about $2 a book. So I grabbed this X-Men 197, just this Doom cover. It's a pretty nice copy. Legends #1. This is a very sharp copy. This is the first appearance of Amanda Waller. I have a few of these in my clean and press pile. I really have to clean and press stuff. And then I found these were both a little bit nicer shape, not bagged and boarded. This is going to go into, I do one of my genre listings. I basically, when I build up enough books of a certain genre, war, romance, Western, Star Wars, G.I. Joe, those kinds of things that I don't come across, Archie, I put those together. And if I have like over 100 books, I'll do a theme show. So I'm building a Disney theme show, and I think these were pretty good. Oh, I don't have the numbers on these. I should put the numbers on because they didn't put them on the cover back in the day. So let me rectify that so that at least when folks are looking at it, I can tell what's what. Oh, I need this collection. I was looking at my personal collection. Because when I got home, I took all these books, and then I had to compare against my PC to see if there were only a couple. One I thought might fill in, but it didn't. It wasn't an upgrade. One was an upgrade. Yeah. So this is Donald Duck. This is a 1961 book. 15 center of Donald Duck, number 79. And then this one's in nicer shape, but it does have a name on it. Issue number 75. This is a 10 center. It's also from 1961. So it's kind of a unique name. I'm not gonna dox the person, but I did find reference to somebody by this name who graduated from a high school in California in 1968. Which means 7 years earlier, they would have been in 5th grade, and they would have written their name on the book. So it was the only internet hit I got for this person. But odd that it went from California to New Jersey. I guess maybe she moved out to New California. Who knows? Then there were some other rougher books from the same vendor. Marvel Spotlight 15 with Son of Satan. At least it did have the Marvel value stamp intact. Warlord number 55. This is the first appearance of Arian, which is I've come across a lot lately. I finished my Arian run, and then I wanted the first appearance. So this is like an 8, which is pretty good for what it is. It's better than the other books in this particular collection. So that goes here. Master of Kung Fu 42. This is the first appearance of Shockwave. And then an early Iron Fist Marvel Premiere 24. This is the first appearance of Princess Azir. But not really anything of note. A Spider Woman number 8, an early Spider Woman. These are lower grade. like in the 3 to 4 range. This, I just like to pick up this series because people do look for it, and it's harder to find. Harder to find in high grade. That's not high grade. It's Spidey Super Stories number 38 with the Fantastic Four and the roller coaster. Do you really want the Thing, like in terms of the weight balance in the front of the roller coaster? I think that would be kind of dangerous. And who can't pass up Giant Size Man Thing? This is issue number 3. Then I picked up this one. I got this one home. I'm like, oh. I just picked it up. I'm like, This is Flash 286. It is the first appearance of the Rainbow Raider. I didn't bag and board it because it's only has, instead of 32 pages, it has 24 pages. All the ads have been removed. I'm pretty sure, I didn't look through this, but I'm pretty sure that, I think the way DC printed the books back in the day is all the ads would be on their own wraps, so they could print those wraps for all their books. But every once in a while, and it's missing 3 wraps. You can feel that it's lighter. Somebody just didn't want the ads in there, so that goes in the dollar bin. That's junk. Super Friends 24, not an upgrade. And then this was in pretty decent shape, and this is an upgrade for me. Flash 303. I'm quietly working on the Flash run, so that goes in the PC. I thought this might be a PC book, but it's not an upgrade because I do have a copy that's fairly nice. This is Starfire number 3. This is a 7-issue, like Sword and Sorcery, mid-70s DC book. And then I'm also going to put these in the special sale. This is from Atlas Seaboard, Tales of Evil number 2, featuring Man Monster. And then number 3. Number 3 with Bog Beast. It's pretty beat up. But like the vendor's like, I take another $1 book on me. I only spent $12 with him. So I'm like, let me grab that. It's pretty low grade, but it is what it is. Another guy, $2 a book. I picked up 2 copies of Infinity War. These are both really minty, but even minty, they're not really worth submitting to CGC. Again, like $75, $80 book. So that is going to go there and there. And 2, again, another one. Still in the poly bag, but not worth really the CGC hardware number 1. And then they also had a Sabretooth number 1. Okay, not a real valuable book, but I like to do those even numbers, get multiples of 5. So then the last vendor I went to is this guy Will, who I see there. He usually sets up with his dad. He's a comic book guy. I've seen him at shows. So he made me a pretty nice deal for this pile. And I did get 1 big book. And I did pay up for it. So this was like the majority of the money that I spent is on, I'd say these 5 books, but it's the last book that I really spent the money on. I'm going to clean and press it. I don't think I'm going to submit it. But I'll get to that. So the first book I grabbed was Black Panther 14. This is the penultimate issue in the 70s series. And this is the first cover artwork done by Bill Sienkiewicz. You can see back then he's still kind of in his influenced by Neil Adams, era, right before Moon Knight, but still a fairly important little artist key. And then I thought a good deal on this one. Marvel Spotlight number 6, first comic book appearance of Star-Lord. I'm going to put this in a spec pile. This is my only spec book of the haul. Because usually I just pick up, like, based on what I look through, everything. But, I didn't. This is Secret War number 2. It's pretty nice shape. It does have, like, maybe 1 or 2 spine ticks. Otherwise, it's worth getting graded because it's so difficult to get this book in a 9.8. This is the first appearance of Quake, who is the Daisy Johnson character who was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I'm not sure if... we've seen Daredevil characters come over. I'm not sure if the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. character come over, but I think she was one of the most popular characters from that TV series. So that's a pretty cool pickup. Just a couple bucks for that. Then I picked up this. This is also, like the hardware, it's still in the poly bag. It's worth getting cleaned and pressed. It is Static number 1. So I'm not sure. It does have a little bit of something down here on the poly bag. I'm not sure if that goes through. So we will put it in our slab pile and see what happens. And then the last book I picked up It's in pretty nice shape. I wouldn't say it has white pages though, but it is Uncanny X-Men number 266, the first cover appearance of Gambit, the first appearance of Gambit in the sequential storyline. Because this story is meant to be read before X-Men Annual 14, even though X-Men Annual 14, because it's annual, and the annuals tended to have a longer shelf life, it was sent to stores earlier in the year. So, first or second appearance, this is the most expensive appearance of Gambit. And it's a newsstand. So, it does have a couple of spine ticks. It's not a 9/8 candidate, but I'm going to give it a clean and press to see how, how it'll come out. It's it's a solid book, right? I think after clean and press, it'll be in the 9s. There's a lot of in Raw. There's a lot of price compression on this book, so it's a pretty cool to get it in a newsstand. That's kind of what jumped out at me. Again, it would be amazing if I could find and I paid close to fair market value for this. I paid up for it. And part of the thing is, when I do a Whatnot show, it's nice to have a very desirable book, kind of on the wall to highlight for folks coming into the room. And, the thumbnail pictures to kind of say, hey, look, we got this. And maybe there's some other stuff you'll want as well. So, that'll get thrown into the press to try to improve the condition. So, is that it? Yep, that's all the books that I picked up at the flea market. There were quite a few. As I said, I think it was 105 books I picked up at the flea market. It was great to get out there. I was talking to some people that I know that I've seen there, and as we're digging through boxes, the flea market isn't the same kind of chatting experiences you have at a comic show, because everybody knows at the flea market there could be something over there, and it's not like you're necessarily competing with other people. You are. But it's, the folks that are there that I know, they're pretty cool about stuff. And they'll be like, oh, yeah, you got finished with somebody. I saw a vendor over there. And there was another guy, he was looking through. And then somebody found a treasury. He was looking for treasuries. And I saw him later. I'm like, yeah, that guy had a treasury that you might be interested in. So it's, it is a communal experience. Whoever gets to the box first is going to find the best stuff, But there's certainly... people who are not going to recognize certain books. And I'm sure I missed a lot in there, and I was going through quickly. I didn't want to spend the time going through every box deliberately. I went through pretty much every book, but I didn't want to start checking prices because that would have really slowed me down. And it's just better to grab some books. Listen, if I grab like 10 books that aren't worth what, they're worth $1 or $2, and I paid $2 for them, so be it. I'd still got, I think, plenty of cool books in pretty decent shape. I'd like to thank y'all for stopping by. You could take a look at a couple of my other videos here. And this is Jim saying until next time, enjoy your comics.